Welcome back to my channel, JVceo. If you're new, if you're locking in for the first time, thank you. And if you're one of my existing subscribers, a bigger thank you. Let's keep growing this channel. Let's keep growing together. Today, I'll talk about something that I get asked a lot. Oh, how are you able to afford this investment? How are you able to afford that investment? I don't live a flashy life in terms of materialistically, but in terms of investment-wise, I have a sizable portfolio, if you want to call it that. And people are always asking, how do you do it? Like, do you work? Like, how are you able to save? Right, I don't work like a 9 to 5 or anything, right? But I used to. I haven't worked probably about 2 years now. But anyways, the purpose of this video is to give you 8 steps, and all of these I've used myself, right? 8 steps to saving money. Within some steps, there's probably subcategories as well, and I'm going to go through it. 8 steps to saving money, and so you can make something out of yourself. My guess is a lot of you watching this video are probably either in your 20s or maybe in your early 30s. I don't know. But in my opinion, your 20s are your prime years. That's not to say that you can't make something out of yourself in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. No, so don't come at me in the comment section. What I am saying is, in your 20s, there's less responsibility, you know, less financial responsibility. Some of us still live with our parents and so on and so forth. So it's just easier to get things rolling. It's easier to get those extra wins without having much of an outgoing if you structure everything the right way. Without much further ado, let's subscribe to the channel. I'm just kidding. Let's get started. Let's go. So number one, this is going to sting you. Sting you. For me, not everyone can do this, but for me, I'm an introverted extrovert, so I can do it. I'm a loner in a sense. I gave up my social life. That's one of the ways I save a lot of money. I gave up my social life, so that means I barely spend anything on alcohol. I barely spend anything on going out to eat much. I do holidays. That's my replacement for that. But anyways, put that to the side. So I don't have no peer pressure to deal with, because I think a lot of your problems, probably a lot of you guys watching this video, is peer pressure. You know, like when everyone else is doing something, you feel the urge to join in, you feel the urge to do that as well. But once you give up on your social life, then, you know, you could afford to start saving a lot more money. And there's nothing wrong with giving up your social life. You're in your 20s. Yeah, you can still live a good life whilst giving up the bulk of your social life. As long as you know what your ambitions are, you know what your goals are, bro, there's plenty time in future to enjoy. There's plenty time in future to party. There's plenty time in future to pop bottles. But it's important to do it when the time is right. This is the real meaning of deferred gratification, right? Giving up your social life. So that's it. Giving up your social life, number one. Number two. So I use a financial planning document or an expense tracker, however you want to call it, right? So I use 2 different ones, right? And I still even use the notes on my phone so that I can keep on top of stuff and whatnot. So the first one I have on Excel. It's comprehensive. You know, I usually plan it out a year in advance. So I would plot everything down, plot in all my incomings, plot in all my anticipated outgoings. I'll put avenues for like holidays and stuff like that, or for like large purchases and stuff like that. I plan that a year in advance. So when you see me and I do certain things and it looks spontaneous, not really. I'm rarely ever spontaneous when it comes to money. You can't be spontaneous when it comes to money. If you want to make money and keep money, you can't be spontaneous when it comes to money. So anyways, I use that on Excel, but also I use a more simplified version on Word. It's literally a table. By the way, I'm going to put all of this towards the end of the video. I'll show you templates, not with my numbers, but I'll show you templates. So I use like a Word document with just a table, one side and another side, and I put in all my incomings. Actually 3 sides, one side, another side, and another side. I put in all my incomings here. I put in my anticipated investments here, and then I put in my outgoings there. So that's another way that I sort of keep on top of it. And these things, I would usually print it out and I'll paste it inside my wardrobe. So when I get dressed every day, I'm analyzing my financial document and I'm seeing how far or how close I am, and I can make adjustments as well. In addition to this, I use what I call a bill list. So I write down all my bills, I write down the dates, and then I just literally print it out and I paste it on. So that way, firstly, to even get the task going in terms of creating the bill list, you need to find all your bills and write it down on a piece of paper. And once you do that, you'd realize that there's so many pointless bills that you're keeping and you can cancel those. But then secondly, it helps you stay on top of your payments so that, you don't end up slipping into debt with one account or another. So I just write it all down on words, and I print it out and I post it on my wall. So that's number 2. Number 3 is something that a lot of people get wrong. A lot of people have just a lot of financial burden. So what I do is I eliminate any depreciating asset. I do not own any depreciating asset other than the clothes on my body, but even those, I don't spend a crazy amount on it. I do not own any depreciating asset. I do not own a car. I refuse to own a car. Think about all the money you could save from that. A lot of you watching this video, or a sizable amount of you watching this video, probably live in London. So if you live in London, I don't understand why you're paying £400 or £500 on a car finance. Then add the insurance, you're probably looking at £700, £800 a month. What's the reason for that? Educate me, because maybe I'm missing something. Why are you paying £800 a month on a car finance? But if you're already stuck in a car finance and you're looking to alleviate your pain in terms of your financial pain, then I'm going to put a link to a video that I've done in the past in terms of how to drive a car for free, right? So watch that. The 4th point is still a way to save money, right? But it's a more psychological way, right? I'd explain it because I don't want to lose you guys. So rewards and recognition is so important. So when you get to milestone, don't just lock yourself up in this whole saving mode and you don't do nothing. You don't enjoy your life, because guess what? You'll burn out. After a year, you'll burn out. You can't do it. I've done that. I've done a lot of trial and error, and that's why I'm giving you the real, right? You would burn out after a year. So what you want to do is always keep avenues to recognize sort of good behaviors, keep avenues to recognize your successes. It might be the little trainer here and there. It might be the new clothes here and there. It might be a little fancy purchase here and there. Just put that in place, because otherwise you will burn out. And once you burn out, you ain't saving nothing no more. But also, from a psychological standpoint, what happens is when you make a large purchase that is tactical, not spontaneous, it triggers something in your mind and you want to go out and get that back, if that makes any sense. You want to make that money back times 10. It's almost like a psychological boost. So that's another trick that I use. On to number 5. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. There are ways you can avoid this. Number 1, push for a promotion at work. Start understanding what your work wants from you. Start adding value to yourself. Get it right when it comes to workplace branding. I used to work myself. I worked in a senior management level position, and I worked up from a consultant. But it's all about branding yourself the right way and adding value to that company, getting a promotion within that company. So at least you have a bit more money to save and you stop living paycheck to paycheck. That's number 1. Number 2, within this, get a side hustle. If you can't get a side hustle, get a second job. If you work 9 to 5, get a weekend job. Go work on a Saturday. I work 7 days a week. So go work 6 days a week if you have to. And that way it gives you an avenue to put something aside. What happens as well is once you start saving, it snowballs as well massively. And then finally, within this point, limit the accessibility to your funds. Limit your accessibility to your funds. So if you know that you're the type that will just keep transferring from your savings, withdraw the money, put it in cash. Or if you've got someone trusted, give them the money. Or if you've got like an ISA account, I don't use those, but if you do, use that. Put the money in there where you have no access to it. Limit the accessibility to your funds. That's a big way to sort of save more money, but also reduce your expenses. Now, on to number 6. Get rid of all your bad debts. I have a thing, right, that when you're in debt, you can't really say you've got money saved. So an example being, if you've saved £5,000 and you've got credit card debts of £7,000, my friend, you owe 2,000. You don't have 5,000 because that money is not yours. So before you even start saving, work towards getting rid of all your bad debts. So I'm talking things like a credit card debt. Stop loaning to friends. Stop loaning money to people, because people will just not pay it back. I don't loan money. I never ever loan money to people. I'm not the bank. I invest money. So that's different. So that's that. Stop loaning money to people. Get rid of your bad debts. Get rid of those credit card debts. And also this new craze of financing products with crazy APR. Stop that. You know, stop financing products with crazy APR, because that's only going to come back and sting you in the arse. Now on to number 6. This was something that was so instrumental in my success financially, right? And I was doing it before I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But when I read the book, it made me understand that I was on the right path. I was on the right track. Pay yourself first. I used to do this when I used to work. So I get paid, say I get paid $4,000, for example. I'd put in, I know that my bills, for example, is, let's say, 1,000 a month. But rather than putting in 3,000 and then putting the other 1,000 towards my bill, I would literally put the whole 4,000 literally into my savings. And then I've got my back against the wall. I start thinking, oh, I need to pay my bills. How am I going to get that done? And believe it or not, every single month, the genius came out. I would end up, you know, making a move. I'd sell something, make good profits on it, and then create that income to pay my £1,000 monthly debt. And that's what I was doing. So I got to a place where I was probably saving mostly 80 to 90% of my wages, if not more. So that's what you need to do. I'm not saying be that extreme, because not everyone can be, but start paying yourself first. It makes you feel more important. It makes you feel more appreciated. It makes you appreciate yourself more, but also it makes you appreciate the work that you've done more, if that makes any sense. You've gone out, you've put in all these shifts. Why are you paying all these companies first? Why are you paying their bills first? You yourself, you're a bill. Your savings is your bill. So pay yourself first and then figure out how to create more money to pay your other expenses. That's the tricky part, but I'll leave that to you to figure out. And then finally, if you're still watching till this point, make sure you're subscribed, you know, because we'll keep putting out great content. Right, finally, automate the process. And what I mean by that is more driving towards the business side of things. So now once you start getting your hands into some serious, good, profitable business, then you can start automating the process. An example being, imagine you have an online store that ticks along whilst you're still working, right? You still make money from that. Automatically now, if you're earning £2,000 a month plus £2,000 a month, that means if this £2,000 was already enough for you to live on, that means all that extra £2,000 is all pushing into your savings. So partly this is what I done when I used to work. Back then I owned a commercial cleaning company and I used to work. The commercial cleaning company paid me more than my wages did, but I kept my job as well. And literally all the money from the commercial cleaning company, well, I was saving it. It was automated because I had the cleaners going out every single day doing the jobs. I didn't have to do nothing but sometimes supervise and do the invoices and obviously bid for new contracts. And the admin part of owning a company or running a company. So that's how you do it. That's exactly how you save more money. Or well, that's how I save more money. If you have a difference of opinion, put that in the comment section. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you thumbs it up. Make sure you're subscribed and make sure you come back next Sunday because I've got fresh content every single Sunday for you guys. With that being said, enjoy your week. Have a productive week. Have a great week. Share your success stories. Pop it in the comment section. Drop me a message on Snapchat, JVceo. I have an Instagram, a personal one, but I don't really use it. But yeah, Snapchat is probably your best means of communication if it's just a casual conversation. If it's business related, then hit me up. The emails are in the description section and have a great week.